Love to see the engagement in our chat. So hello, everyone. We're glad you are joining us for the Mastering Conversational Marketing in the Era of Mobile Messaging webinar. And the ever-evolving marketing landscape shaped by evolving consumer expectations, companies must establish effective connections, fulfill customer demands, and tailor engagement strategies to foster lasting and meaningful connections with their customer base. This involves tailoring customer engagement strategies to incorporate innovation. So before we proceed, just a little warm up for everyone to wake you all up. Let's kick off with a brief poll. In what way do you leverage conversational marketing in your campaigns? Now select the option that applies best for you. We have boosting customer interaction, strengthening customer retention, gathering customer data and insights, driving sales conversions. There's all of the above, or at the moment, we just aren't using conversational marketing. Results came out. Looks like 33% of you say boosting customer interaction, but we actually have fairly close with some 20% who don't use conversational marketing, but a varied answer. Thank you for your participation, everyone. It looks like whether or not you're leveraging conversational marketing in your strategies, we do have this report, super hyped to share, by the way, because I read it myself and it's super insightful, where you can discover the current trends in business communication based on over 473 billion interactions. Yes, billions. So you can scan the QR code here or click the link our team sent in the chat. So yeah, this afternoon we'll tap into valuable insights from esteemed industry experts as they share strategies on leveraging technology to enhance customer interactions. But before we officially commence, I'd like to remind everyone that you are muted, but we encourage you to type your comments in the chat box, questions in the Q&A section, and we encourage you to upvote if those questions are something that you're interested to find out as well. And we'll prioritize asking them during the Q&A session as long as time permits. And now it's time. Let's begin with a presentation by Cecil Perez. He's on Sales Director for Southeast Asia at Infobip. She brings with her over 20 years of experience in the communication industry and advocates turning challenges into opportunities and success stories. I love that from her bios. She is a travel enthusiast and she has a Shih Tzu therapy animal called Mr. Miles. Hi, Cecil. How is Mr. Miles doing?
Mr. Miles is very, very fine.
Very, very fine.
Only,
Great to hear that.
only a fun fact because I'm one of those who had a pandemic pet, and I think a lot of people have that these days. So yeah, cheers to that.
Cheers to that. Thank you, Ms. Cecil, for sharing. So now, before I leave you to do your presentation, I do have a question for you. What word comes to mind when you think of conversational marketing?
The first word that pops up would be chat.
Chat.
You know,
Okay.
chat. Yeah,
The
because
perfect
it's
word, actually.
yeah. Okay, glad you think so.
All right. So I'm super excited for your presentation, Cecil. The floor is yours.
Okay, everyone. Thanks for being in this session. I'm very pleased and fortunate to be part of this webinar, and I hope you gain a lot of insight from this. So let's start. I'm Cecile, and I am an advocate of conversational marketing executions and experiences with Infobip. We have a lot of information to share with images and videos and some data analytics that can help you understand how marketing can relate to analytics when it comes to utilizing all these chat apps that you have. Okay, to start, we have to understand what are involved to gain results or conversions from our conversations with our end users. So here you can see 3 samples of messages in Messenger, WhatsApp, and Instagram. And when it comes to click to chat ad, it's very much a fact or a point that these 3 channels are related to efficient analytics gathering. Why? Because these are all Meta channels. Meta is one of the biggest communication and social media broadcasters globally, and they are utilizing and providing us with these channels so that we can have the experiences that we need enable for us to communicate with our end users. So you can see here how 93% of social media marketers are using Facebook ads, and how 57% of businesses have noticed that by including using Facebook stories to relating it to their product, they get the success rate that they need. Once you see this, I think you can relate to what you experience on a day-to-day basis when you come across some ads that are enticing you to have some interest in products, whatever this may be. So where does this pivot from? These are the sources. This is where we jump off before we have that conversational marketing. A conversation is an interaction of communication, of course, between two parties. If you're seeing the ads, the conversation doesn't really start yet. It starts with a click. So as you can see here, I have three samples for you where we can find images, enticing images on your favorite channels, whether this is on Instagram, on Messenger, or WhatsApp. That may relate to what you always search for or browse for on the internet or watch videos about. Once your interest is piqued as a user, you may find yourself seeing ads that are very enticing for you to click on the messages. We will see how the flow happens after you click on the ad. First, on the left, you see you are invited to engage from the entry point, which is the ad itself. When you click to WhatsApp, we're using WhatsApp as a channel for now. On the Facebook, WhatsApp or Facebook or Instagram ads, you will immediately be guided on a conversation. So once the conversation window happens, everything that you need to know or find out will be available to you. And these days, chat has evolved so much. We even have generative AI assisting in content that is so useful and so efficient in providing us with answers to our curiosity. So if there are questions, color, size, shape, whatever, options, it can be provided on chat. As you can see here, there are samples of watches where you can have a choice, like you can choose on what you want. Now, payments in some territories are enabled, and this is the wonderful thing because you can process the transaction end to end. From the time the interest is sparked, the conversation happens, the choices are made, and then the conversion is finalized. And then when that one transaction is done, it will only be part of many, many others that is studied and assessed in the system, comparing the conversion to the ones that took time to convert or didn't convert at all. This is where analytics can prove to be very useful. Thanks for that. So, what you just witnessed is a more engaging video to sample how these marketing conversations happen in real life. And I know that the scenes in that video, you will find them very, very familiar because we actually are already engaged in some of our purchases or some of the customer support needs that we make. We have these touch points on chat that makes everything very relatable in the video that you saw. Now, one important thing before I move forward with the analytics here is to emphasize how entities have an investment that is very, very optimal for results. Why? In the olden days, companies know that they have a budget for communication, right? So they set aside a budget for broadcast, marketing campaigns, and all that. But these days, after you implement all those campaigns, you use the same amount of budget to get results that is used to optimize your next batch of campaigns. This is where these dashboards come in very handy because they're full of information, timestamps, counts, unique counts, totals, and comparisons that you actually need for reports, analysis, and to answer any question that you may have, to deliberate, brainstorm on what the next steps should be in the future. If we can go to the next slide. So the main goal is to be able to track the performance of the communication. So you can see all the users that you have, all the unique users that you've gained, the new ones, the old ones, the ones that are not engaged. And you can think on the side when you do your planning, how can we form better content, a different kind of call out maybe, to make sure that our marketing or our ads entice these non-engaged statistics to be part of the engaged and converting statistics. Dashboards these days are very, very easy to use. You can filter to the last 30 days, the last 5 days, yesterday. And since everything is real time, after all the consumption for communication has been utilized, you can choose any day or any time to study your data and form new plans and strategies for your next campaigns. This is a sample on the right side of how per day you can see how your productivity is growing. And when you filter your dashboard in accordance to each and every campaign that you want to study more closely, that is always possible. The filtering is endless. It's very, very engaging. You can sit for hours just studying every single bit, whether your information should be based on time, should be based on volume. And if you have your relevant information in your CRMs correlated with the data you see out of the conversations, you can actually compare. You can compare how much you are gaining based on how much you are spending. And this is a very, very good benchmark for how you can budget for the future based on the results that you're getting to this day. Okay, this is just a close-up of what we showed earlier on the right side. So here, it's an option for 2 campaigns chosen. You can see all the campaign names listed down below, and you can see that this is filtered for the last 7 days. So if you started your observation on, say, the 13th of September, you can see actually how your performance is moving in terms of the communication, what you've spent, the impressions you've done, the clicks that you've gained, and the profiles that you have. These attributes can be edited according to what you need.
You can target people all you want, but to stand out in a crowded feed, you need to tailor the journey to each customer. Make it easy for them to get in touch when and where they choose to. Deliver convenience of a store in a chat app and cover all the touch points in a single conversation with no stress and no friction. Lean on your chatbots to keep the conversation flowing. Confirm, reassure, re-engage, and loop the journey back to purchase.
In summary, the funnel works in this way. You use your content to incite interest. You drive people with that exact interest into conversations, and you start conversion process by making them engaged in the selection process of what they really want out of this conversation. Convert, you can even continue that relationship and conversation by offering support in case, some would want a change in color or return or have any issues with service or anything. Solve the problem, remarket new products based on their interest, drive new conversions and conversations, and it will be an ongoing flow of success. And I think, in a nutshell, that's all the most relevant and the key point of marketing conversations leading to these kinds of analysis. I wish we had more time, really. But this is just the baseline for this topic. If we are to dig deeper on what kind of information you can get or want to get, we can look at the next couple of slides for close-up.
Wondering how to win customers and earn their loyalty? Start with a great first impression, and then just keep going without ever leaving the WhatsApp environment. It really can be that easy with WhatsApp Flows, allowing you to build all kinds of use cases for your customers to register, browse, shop, or otherwise interact with your business seamlessly within a single thread. And that's only the half of it. End-to-end customer journeys come with end-to-end analytics powered by Infobip. From ads that click to WhatsApp, to in-app payments and beyond, each and every customer touchpoint gets tracked and logged into a unified report that empowers you to make data-driven decisions and steer your marketing efforts closer to your goals. Design end-to-end customer journeys on WhatsApp. Made simple, fast, and easy with Infobip. One communications platform for all.
All right. Thank you so much. I hope you got a lot of key insight here and you're interested in getting your questions answered. I think we have Q&A chat for this, right, Catherine? That's it for me. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Cecil, for that informative presentation. Now, having delved into click-to-chat ad analytics, let's go to our next segment. In the upcoming session, industry leaders will share their insights in transforming CX through the power of that conversational marketing. And I'm super excited to have this discussion with them. But before I introduce our speakers, I'm interested once again in hearing from our audience once more, especially those who just joined us recently. The question is, do you think conversational marketing is the leading strategy for customer experience today? And yes, we have 95%, a whopping, and a majority of you said that yes, definitely conversational marketing is the leading strategy for CX today. Thank you. And I'm curious as to why. For those who said no, maybe our panelists can give insight to that as well. So once again, thank you for your participation. And without further ado, joining me today are Greg Anonas, International Wine and Food Marketing Director at Emperador Distillers. With nearly 2 decades of experience, Greg is a highly accomplished marketing professional, having successfully led teams in prominent local and multinational companies. Greg also indulges in outdoor activities like mountain biking, off-roading, and camping. So hi, Greg. Where is our adventurer?
Hi,
Let's
I'm right
say hi.
here.
Please, we would love to see that.
Unfortunately, I'm indoors and not outdoors.
That would have been the perfect introduction
Venue,
in
right?
that case. Should have thought of that sooner. But anyway, thank you. And let's say hi to Greg, everyone. So we have next, our panelist is Rosebel Garcia, Head of Marketing and Commercial at Hertz, Thrifty and Dollar. From being a software engineer to a marketing manager, she has discovered the realms of both business and technology. Belle is a jet setter traveling all around the world. So we have a lot of travelers here, adventurers. Let's say hi to Belle. Hi, Belle.
Hi, good afternoon. Nice to see you, everybody.
Okay, Belle, we're gonna have to ask, where is the favorite destination so far for you?
Locally, my favorite destination has been Tacloban. We've recently opened our branch in Tacloban, and it's very, very underrated. I don't know why people are not thinking of Tacloban as the first place to visit in the Philippines. And then internationally, my favorite is Vietnam. First is because of the
Oh.
coffee, and second is how cheap the place is.
Okay, matches ours, I guess. Thank you, Belle. So let's go now to our next panelist, Dara Deng, Head of OTT Partnerships for Asia Pacific at Infobip. She is a passionate individual about digital transformation, and she has been instrumental in helping tech giants across various industries accelerate digitalization and enhance customer experience. Now, Dara is secretly one of us. Secretly Filipino, because I don't know if you guys noticed, but we're all Filipino here at the moment. Dara is secretly a karaoke queen.
Oh, my.
We're gonna have to ask you, Dara, what is your favorite song to sing in karaoke?
Oh my, I think I
Is that
have
stopping you?
No, I think it's a long
Wow.
list.
Long list. Oh, yeah.
That is. You cannot have pick one song if you're a karaoke queen, right? So I have a long list.
Exactly. She
Yeah,
really
Or
is.
maybe your question should be, what is her favorite genre?
Genre. Look at that, Dara.
Actually, it's pop and jazz.
Nice.
Pop and jazz. Okay,
Pop and
I'll
jazz.
have to hear that tune and invite you sometime when you're
I
here.
wish,
So
I wish you have the opportunity to visit Philippines. Definitely, would love to hang out. And I know that the Filipinos are really good at karaoke. That's international reputation also. And I really wish to opportunity to join the team. Yeah.
Wonderful, Dara. Anyway, everybody heard that, right? We're
Right.
looking forward for the karaoke queen to visit us sometime. So to kick things off, welcome Greg, Roosevelt, and Dara to get you guys warmed up on a quick question. When you think of conversational marketing, what's the first word that comes to mind? I'll start with Greg.
When I think of conversational marketing, thank you, Kat. The first word that really comes to mind is precision, because we're always used to the generalist approach, especially old school
Mm.
thinking, where you have your radio, you have your TV, and you cast a wide net thinking that you will catch somebody along the way. But now that we can really target and zero in on consumers and make actually the consumers think that we're talking to them instead of just talking to a crowd, I
Mhm.
think it makes a world of difference, especially with high engagement products like wine, where you need a lot of education, and you have a lot of questions to ask when it comes to like the sophisticated nuances of whatever product you would like, especially wine, to consume.
Right. Thank you, Greg. Position. And you, Belle?
For me, it's digital, just because we've seen how people are more engaged on digital platforms and how we actually can create personalized interactions depending on which platforms you're speaking to your audience with.
All right. Wonderful, Belle. And you, Dara?
I think the word pops out is interactive.
That's a
Interactive.
good
That's
one.
I think yeah, that's the key point. So I think we're talking about conversational. It's very important that the brand is establish, an interactive, meaningful chats and
Right.
personalized chats with end users. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, wonderful. So from Cecil as well, we have chat, position, digital, and uh sorry, what was yours, Dara?
Interactive. Interactive.
Interactive. Sorry, I blanked out there. A great answers. It's interesting to see how each of us has a unique take on conversational marketing. So it really shows how broad it is, right? And impactful it can be. So now let's dive deeper and talk about how to drive innovation in conversational marketing. Greg, I'll start again with you. As customer expectations evolve, how is Emperador Distillers adapting its conversational marketing to stay ahead of the curve and continue delivering innovative customer experiences?
Okay, so first of all, when you think of the sales funnel, you think of where people come in and where you eventually want to lead them. So the goal really is to make a sale, right? So fortunately, like we have a partner. If you're familiar with Boozy, that's a online liquor store. So we make sure that after every digital conversation, you end up with a link to sales. Next is we have a concept that we want to run. It's called the digital sommelier. And this is where people who are, especially with wine, because you have so many questions when it comes to wine. Because first of all, you want to see if what food you will pair it with, what color, or if you want white wine, sparkling wine, red wine. Um, Next is also you want to guide people through the flavor profile. So there's a lot of nuances that you need to do to be able to interact with wine, because a lot of people, unlike, for example, buying whiskey or vodka, you just look how strong the alcohol is and where it's coming from and the price, right? But wine is a little more sophisticated. So something like this, like conversational marketing, really helps enable better choices in making wine, because really, if you look at wine, there's 1,000 bottles there, and the confusion and the clutter is so much that you want to be able to find a way to customize your communications with people and to make them communicate really like, are you talking to me because I have a specific occasion in mind, or I have a specific meal in mind, or I have a specific kind of wine that I would like to taste, or something new, something different. These are the kinds of interactions like customers are looking for. And that's what we're conceptualizing when we're developing our digital sommelier. So sort of like a chatbot, but specializing in wine.
Thank you for sharing, Greg. And definitely, I would be one of those people who have no
Yeah,
idea.
because it's intimidating, right? Like talking to a chatbot is probably easier than like talking to like a wine snob.
Mm. All right. Thank you for sharing, Greg. And let's go to the next question. This is for Dara. So, from a marketing technologies point of view, because from Greg's, we have a brand point of view. So, in what ways does Infobip ensure that its conversational marketing solutions remain flexible and adaptable to evolving client needs and technological advancements?
Yeah, sure. As a technology provider, I think the most important is to actually provide the solution that each business needs.
Right.
So, for example, like Greg is actually very expertise in the wine industry, right? So,
Yes.
in Greg's industry and the industry like other, for example, other retail brands and other electronic consumers, let's say, or like let's say banking or finance and insurance industry, each industry have a different demand. When we talk about conversational experience, we are talking about how to build a personalized
Right.
chat or interactive with their brands. So this is kind of very difficult, and this is a question keep in mind for the business to think about. How do I build that, and do I have the tools and platforms to build that? So in Infobip, we do have different kind of layer of solutions. The first layer is the CPaaS layer, which is we provide all different kind of omni channels. Let's say all the digital channels and all the traditional channels like SMS, emails, or calls, or the digital channels like what we're talking about, WhatsApp, as well as the other, chat channels like Viber, Line, and Zalo, which are very popular globally or specifically strong in the Asia Pacific market. That's the first layer of the channel. So first of all, you need to have the option and flexibility to choose your channels. And then second of all, we do have a very flexible SaaS layer, which is focused on the three parts. And the first part is actually marketing automation to help you to help your brands to build a campaign that can be
Right. Right.
automated according to your industry needs.
Right.
And second of all is the chatbots level. Which we leverage in enabling generative AI and the chatbots that we're all
Right. Right.
talking about nowadays to build your own stories or contents that you want to communicate with the end user. And the third one is actually a customer support platform, which will enable you to build, let's say, a strong customer support channel. After the chatbots interactive, I can still enable my real-time agents to be interactive with end user to fulfill their needs or request on the spot. So these several pieces and channels that I mentioned can be completely separated. You can choose one channel and one layer of SaaS, or you can choose multiple channels, omni channels, or several layer of SaaS, depending on your demand on the spot for the business. So let's say your industry is more interesting in driving sales, or your industry right now is more interesting of handling the incoming inquiries regarding customer support or complaints, let's say, or after sales. It really depends on what you want. And then in Infobip, we have the consultants to actually help you build a solution that will solve the problems. So it's very flexible.
Very flexible. So the brand has that option, right? And depending on their purpose, their objective. Again, it could be the objective is for wine snobs who need a lot of help
Yes.
uh to get through or to decide on what they want to purchase, right?
And
For
also
Exactly,
after.
like Greg wants to inform the end users about different kind of wines
Right.
and
Right.
about
Right.
what kind of meals, and it's like it's some information that maybe it's very difficult to get. Like, or maybe I'm too lazy to actually go to a website to read all kinds of
Right. Right. Right.
information.
Do the research. You need somebody to do the
Exactly.
research for you.
Mhm.
Exactly. If I can just click a button and choose, and then you give me the information, and that's very
Correct.
interactive way. It's very easy. It's like a game, for me to
Correct.
obtain the information. So, that kind of like user journey is the future conversational marketing that we
Correct.
are seeking for. Yeah.
And also
All right.
after you make the sales, you can also measure consumer sentiment and how reassured they are that they made the right choice.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Which builds confidence, morale in purchasing, having
And
that
repeat
purchasing
purchase, which
power.
is what we're after.
Exactly. Yeah, and loyalty. So again, which brings me to the perfectly transitioning to our next topic, which is building that stronger customer relationships and loyalty through those personalized strategies and effective communication. So I'll go to Belle this time. As head of marketing and commercial, how do you measure the success of these personalized communication strategies in terms of improving customer satisfaction and loyalty?
Might be a cliche answer, but I think it's based on your company's goals and objectives. But for us, for Hertz, it's more of how we can adjust customer pain points. So one success story that I can personally share is we've made one successful rollout of product through conversational marketing when we were able to launch a new product or brand during the pandemic. So for those of you who may not know or may not be familiar with Hertz, we are a car rental and mobility solutions company in the Philippines. We have a global presence, but we are, I personally manage only the Philippine segment. So during the pandemic, we were able to learn that 80% of our business is made up of B2B or corporate businesses. And so when the pandemic hit, we obviously lost a huge chunk of our business. But that's when we also had several inquiries through our Facebook page of how are they able to rent a car, but they're looking for a cheaper option, a more affordable option, but still private and on their own. So from that, we then launched Thrifty, which is also a car rental, but as the name suggests, it's a more affordable and but still a private and quality option from her. So that's one of the success stories that we have made through conversational marketing. And for us, that's how we measure success, addressing our customer pain points and eventually launching a product or probably improve our brands through those conversations that we have made.
I like that success story, Belle. So maybe Dara or Greg, if you guys have success stories to share like that as well, feel free to add in. Okay.
Well, the easiest measure for us, of course, is sales.
Mm.
And since we own a digital platform, we can see how often they repeat purchase.
Mhm.
So one thing is making the sale for the first time, which is trial, but you eventually want to lead them into repeat purchase. So that's one thing we measure. I think most people call it loyalty. Um, that's the end goal, because after awareness, you really need to be able to drive trial and conversion. And once they are converted, you need to make sure that they keep coming back to you. So I think for us as marketing people, it's not rocket science. What we're really after is to get people to not only try our product, but to continue consuming or going back to our services.
Mhm. All right. Okay. So this next question still goes to you, Greg, to continue on what you were saying. So what steps does Emperador take to foster brand loyalty through personalized campaigns and customer centric strategies?
Again, we have a digital platform which
Yeah.
we work with Boozies, and that gives us a wealth of data for what we can who we can talk to,
Mm.
um, what their purchasing habits are, and one thing we found out is the prevalence of pink wines
Mm.
in the Philippines. If you notice, in any fast-moving consumer good, pink is the most bought variant, and naturally, we were surprised that it also followed in wine. We saw that most consumers, the Filipino consumers in general, are actually sweet wine consumers. They really do not like bitter wine. Another thing we discovered is the propensity of the market to shift towards pink variants. That's why right now we were really able to successfully grow our pink variants, which is the fastest growing variant in the entire category now. So for us, success is colored pink. That's our
Success
success
story.
variant.
I like that. Belle as well on the pink
I
variant.
think when I said pink and I said sweet wine, I saw Belle's reaction.
Yes, yes. I personally am a fan of the pink wine.
See?
I think a lot of our audience, hopefully also, maybe we can get a show of hands here, or I don't know,
Who
type
likes pink
pink.
wine?
Yeah, who likes pink wine there in our chat? You can add there. But yeah, we've been talking a lot about data Maybe I can touch a little bit more on that. If we can hear from you, Dara, as well, or Belle from your earlier example, how are you refining your strategies, or how about Infobip in their platform using that data that you get from conversational marketing? Maybe we can start with Dara.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Actually, earlier there's in Q&A chats that already, some guests already asking, what kind of analytics data that I would get. So it's quite interesting though, and my answer was like, it really depends on what kind of metrics, what kind of results that you're seeking for,
Right.
and then to
Right.
be able to see what data is relevant to you. For example, Greg shared that, like the color pink is actually the key selling words, magic words in Philippines market, and this is for him, it's quite valuable data, right? So as a tech platform, to be honest, like what we can do is to collect all of the data in the whole campaign processes, from the end users preferences, from the end users interactive way to your chatbot or to your brands,
Right.
and then be able to understand the end users preferences, personalized preferences
Right. Right.
during the way, and then we can see which is more repetitive in the way. So
Right.
we can see
Right.
that the more repetitive patterns is the ones that the end user,
Correct.
the other consumers are actually more interested in. And then from that, maybe that data is relevant or is valuable to your brand. And then we can think about, how do we reutilize this data that we collected, and then to re-engage them, and then to turn to a better conversion, to a better sales results, better ROI,
Correct.
or to turn into some existing customer to loyalty, or to leverage this data to redesign my next campaign, which is more focused on that pattern. So I would say it really depends. Again, I might be repeating myself. Really depends on the goal and the metrics that
Mhm.
your brands want to achieve, and also really depends on the industry
Yeah.
that your business is in. Yeah.
Yeah,
Here's a
indeed, though.
quotable quote for you, Kat. While I was listening to Dara, I thought to myself, the value of all data is relative to its usefulness to generate profit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's just information that's around.
Okay, we'll quote you on that, Greg. For
Exactly.
sure.
Which is true though. So like the tech platforms like us, like Infobip, we do have all kind of data. We can provide all the
Right.
reports and analytics,
Mm.
but it's also very important for the brands to be able to communicate with the tech
Correct.
provider to tell us,
Mhm.
hey, like this actually help us, drive the sales, because better than us, right? Like the
Correct.
Mhm.
industry leaders. And so
You can
you can
generate all
share.
the iterations that you want, but if it's
Exactly.
just data for the sake of having data on your
Mhm.
hands, it's not going to be of much use. You have to be able to sift through the data and find the right insight for you to be able to capitalize on it.
Mhm.
Correct. Yep.
Exactly. So the part
Plus I
of
think,
that
Dara, I
data.
mean, it's sad to say, but humans are not as unique as they think they are. We function in patterns, and usually we are predictable.
Mm.
Well, they are.
We are.
That's
I
why
mean,
we.
it's come to a point where I think data, of course, mixed with intuition, because you need some intuition. That's the 80% is data, 20% is the intuition of the marketeer himself. If you add that together, you can actually predict consumer behavior or where they're headed. You won't get exactly the right answer just by looking at data alone. You'll need a little bit of intuition, and that's where the human aspect comes
Mhm.
as well. That's actually what we're paid for, right? Otherwise, everything's automated.
Yeah. I think the first campaign or something like that, it's more about interaction. Or I say that the traditional way of marketing is based on interaction, because all you can
Correct.
do is to actually track the impressions, right? Nothing more.
Correct.
Let's say
Correct.
you launch the TV ads, or you launch your on YouTube ads, or whatever, or Facebook ads that all you can see is the results, it's the conversions that of the sales, but you don't know if that sales is actually driven by the ads that you put there, or is by
Or
the
just
word of mouth,
frequency
or is
and
by
reach.
You do not know. So
Yeah.
that's only the impressions that you can measure, and that's the traditional way. So that one you cannot really tell, like, and analyze anything that they can do. You can only have intuition. Your brand is like, oh, this ad is working, and let me repeat this ad, or this ad is not working because I don't not see a great result, but you don't know why and how this ad is not working or not, right? So the interactive, the
Generalist
conversation.
approach. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I mean. The interactional or a conversational
Yeah.
marketing is actually giving you a chance, giving the business a chance to understand their end user, their consumers better in the journey. At least that you will understand, the user behavior along the way, because they are actually feeding you back with a
Right.
data. Either they click no or click yes, or either they reply, or they just, let's say, for some reason they don't like your brand or they block you, for example. You will have all kinds of data, and then so you know how your business are doing, so then you can adjust accordingly, based on the user feedback. Yeah.
Is it
Plus, you
any
also get to
different?
gauge the
Sorry.
frequency. You also get to gauge the frequency because reaching out after your sale is good, but if you do it too much, they will block you because they also don't want
Mhm.
to be hard sold to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. So is it touching on what you mentioned, Dara, on customer journey? Is it any different when you're getting that data to maintain personalization versus doing something for the real time communication of your customers?
Well, yes, the real-time communication. In this part, we're talking about, should we leverage more on the chatbot experience or the real-time, with human
Mm.
interactive, agents
Mm.
conversation, right? So I think these two are not replaceable. It's very important for the business to have both. Why? Because it's very important to for the business, first of all, to leverage the AI now, because the AI now is very powerful, and then they can actually mimic how a human being is being,
Right.
communicated through the journey.
Right.
And then you can actually, like Greg mentioned, there's a lot of things that is actually repetitive info in
Mm.
business era. He would need to continue to talk about, hey, this wine have this many categories, and this wine have this taste and stuff like that. So he would need to, like, for Greg's business, he would need to communicate this info repetitively to their end users again and again, right? Based on, even though it's personalized, however. So at this stage, and you can actually using the AI power, or AI chatbot to be able to mimic a personalized communication, because you
Mm.
can then call the name. It's like, hey Dara, hey Greg,
Mm.
hey Cecile, or hey Catherine. So if you're like, oh, I'm talking, yeah, the brand is talking to me. And also based on the data of your end user, you probably understand, the gender or the age, and based on whatever data you
Right.
have, and then you can create a more
Right. Right.
personalized
Right.
text with the end
Right.
user. But this, you need to use the AI. Otherwise, like, you're just using your
Right.
human labor to repeat that.
Right.
It's
Right.
it's not cost effective,
Perfect.
and it's
Mhm.
not really so interactive, because when you send a message out, the end user could reply in a various way.
Right. The
They could reply
nuances.
yes or no. Yes, you don't know how to do that. So then, actually, the AI right now can detect what kind of responses the end user is sending you, and based on that responses, and then the chatbot can send out another one. So that is very important for the brands to have this, for business to have this, and that's very cost effective, and that's also very technology, advanced, that
Right.
you're
Right.
using the
Right.
technology to communicate, and it actually increase your brand awareness to the market as well,
Right.
and then
Right.
to be able to massive expand your conversational channel to more people, so that's one thing. However, even though the brands are utilizing the AI, but we all know that for some of the points, the AI cannot solve 100% of the issues or inquiries, right? It's
Mm.
Right.
almost impossible, because you wouldn't
Right.
know that this end user will have what kind of, like, very
Right. Right.
special
Right.
requirements that a chatbot cannot reply, cannot handle. So then it's very important that you have a channel, you have a way or platform to connect the chatbot's conversation to a real-time agent from your business, so
Mhm.
that when it's needed, the end user or your consumer, your customer, can actually talk to a real person, so that they
Mhm.
don't feel frustrated. Hey, I'm just keep talking to a bot,
Yeah.
I cannot reach you,
Yeah.
and that's not okay, right?
Facebook is guilty of that.
not
Yes,
having. Mhm.
Facebook,
it is
it's
very
all
true.
chatbot, and if you have a nuanced request, you're just shut into like a dead end.
Mhm.
What
And
they do have, but for some really like for some VIP cases, they do have like real time agents actually
Mhm.
to solve the problems,
I
but it
think
really
like
depends.
Apple sometimes has that, right? Like, we're
Yeah,
sorry, we're unable to answer your request at the moment. If none of the information that we're giving you is not helpful, we will connect you to a service representative.
Mhm.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's the challenge. So
That
imagine
that's your
that, like
backup plan.
you know that your brands are listening to you, right? Even though you're
Right,
interacting to the bots, and
right,
your brands will know that hey, this chatbot that the design cannot solve the problem that the end
right,
users,
right.
yeah,
Mhm.
currently having. So that's why it's very important at this stage. I wouldn't say that you should leverage one over another. It really depends on
No,
what kind of
Mhm.
yeah problems that you
I
want to
Agree.
think
solve.
here in the Philippines, banks do that, right? They have automated responses, but if you go beyond what the automated responses goes, they'll connect you to a sales rep or a
Yeah.
yeah, call
And
center
you
agent.
you go all over. It's just a cycle repeating itself anyway
Right, right, right.
sometimes.
But
Yeah.
the thing about also like automating things is that you have to be able to let your communication come across beyond just the features and benefits.
Mhm.
You need to be able
Yeah.
to communicate the feelings that you want them to have when it comes
Mm.
to
Yes. Yeah. I think Belle wants
Yeah.
to share something on that.
yes,
Yeah, just anchoring to the discussion between traditional and the AI or bot thing. For our team, we're still very more on the traditional sense in a way that we still have our reservation agents. So the people still answering our inquiries are actual people. And I've also seen one question here on the chat box, like how do we address multilingual or
Mm.
dynamic pricing products? Our agents know a couple of dialects in the Philippines just because a huge chunk
that's
of our
nice.
markets are still Filipino renters. So we have those are from Cebu, Davao, Palawan, and
Bicol,
all that. Exactly. We also have in Bicol. So they know and they can converse in that local dialect.
dialect.
So that's easy for us. And then if it's for dynamic pricing, just to answer one question in the chat box, what we do in an AI sense is we offer just because we're changing pricing every week and that's 3 or twice a week every Wednesday, Friday, just to for background. So we're changing pricing every now and then. And what we do is we send in these rates also through conversation marketing in a sense that hi, hey renter, letter A, we have new rates. If you're interested or like if you have trips coming, this is our new prices. And then and on AI sense, we use this CRM platform wherein we put in labels. If the pricing that we give is the standard, is it a discounted price? Or is it probably a VIP just because this renter is coming over and over again to us? So in that way, we were able to measure which of those promotions have been effective, which
Mhm.
market actually took advantage and took leverage of the discounts that we are providing. And then at the same time, we have also discovered through our CRM software, very, very um, like related to Infobip on the process, is that WhatsApp is very arising right now. I've seen on Cecil's
Presentation.
presentation, yeah, about WhatsApp, and we have discovered that a lot actually of our foreign renters are using WhatsApp to message our drivers, our reservation agents. So what we're doing is we're on the works of looping in our WhatsApp through our CRM software, just so we have all of those conversation apps in one platform.
Mhm.
Yeah, I see Joshua use WhatsApp in Hong Kong 100%. So I think that's one thing that we have learned through conversational marketing as well, that there are different platforms that we still have to engage in and
Mhm.
to discover more aside from those the usual messenger direct messages that and emails that we're actually using.
Yeah.
Specifically in the
Yeah.
Philippines. Yeah.
I can, yeah. Thanks, Rosebud. It's really interesting to hear that, and you just remind me of something that now the technologies actually allow you to utilize, like the chatbots to utilize, the API, and then to fetch data from your CRM or from your platform, and then push the real time data. For example, the price today is different than yesterday, right, that you mentioned. And then so you will have the fresh data all the time, so the chatbot will be able to push out that fresh data that you want to do to with the end users. So that's very important. I can echo that. Another thing I want to also maybe mention, I mean, it's not news that we see business have the chatbots already and then have the agents, like linked to that. But I think there's a slight differences of nowadays the technology can be pushing forward. Is that previously the experience maybe that I'm chatting with the chatbots. First of all, the chatbots may be keyword based chatbots. It's like predefined Q&As, and then I couldn't find my answers. And it's not conversational chatbots. I couldn't form a really smooth conversation with the bot itself, right? It's predefined. That's first of all. And then second of all, when the chatbots cannot solve my problem and I was directed to a human agent, I need to then repeat my questions and issues. And that's
Yeah.
very
That's
frustrating for me.
exhausting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, because I've already write down my issues, and now you transfer me to an agent, and now I need to repeat myself, and that's really not a good experience, right? So nowadays, I think the technology, the platform has already solved and tackled that kind of issue. At least, for example, the Infobip, if you're using our platform's solutions, that the chatbots communication or like a chat history through the bot of the end user. Once the session is ended and then it's transferred to an agent, your agent will be able to see all of the history that the end user already been going through with the chatbot, so that the agent can just pick take it over from that stop point, so without asking the same question to the end
Right.
users. Another thing is like your end user might be reaching to you over multiple channels. It could be email, maybe complain over email before, maybe send a require. It could be a chat, let's say Messenger or WhatsApp. It could be maybe a phone call before. Maybe, he dialed your hotline before. Nowadays, it's like the platform will be able to, utify or provide a platform for you to view all of the omni-channel communication into one platform, so that you can recognize, hey, this person who wrote me email before and this person today who reached me over WhatsApp, it's actually the same person. So then I can so I can pick up the conversation, and continue the chats. So that's really we can see that examples that really improve the customer satisfaction rates. Yeah.
Thank you, Vel, Greg, and Dara. Those are actually really insightful, both on the industry solution, the tech, and also the brand side that we have. So I think we can quickly go over like maybe one question. There were already some points that answer your questions, audience, actually. Like Belle already addressed the ones about multilingual markets for omnichannel. This was from Joshua from Prime Credit. And then also maybe we can go to this question from Gunit. He's from HP, I believe. How can conversational marketing be utilized to foster long-term relationships? So we're already getting a typed answer from Greg. So maybe we can hear from you, Dara, as well.
Long-term relationship with customers rather than just focus on immediate conversion? Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, that's the key of why we're driving conversational marketing, right? I mentioned this before, like actually the traditional way of doing the marketing, and then you just launch a campaign and then you just wait for the results of conversion or placing an order, and that's it. You don't know this customer is coming to you from which channel. However, on the conversational marketing, you'll be able to trace down these end users, the first initial phase. How did this end user, how did this customer come to your brand at the first stage? For example, maybe you launch a Facebook campaign, or maybe you launch any kind of campaign which have the chats, the QR code there, and then to be able to interact with you and engage. First, you have that data, and then you know what he or she is interested with. That's the first step. And then you'll be able to, along the journey, track if he or she already converts. Let's say if it converts, and you'll be able to see what kind of what steps, so what behaviors or what actions that he did before he converts. For example, he might be click to multiple categories before he actually placed an order, or he might be asking several questions to the chat before he placing the order, right? So you'll be able to trace down what matters to this specific customer and user that you have, and based on that all kind of data, and then we're calling it user behavior is actually tracked down on the platform. So we'll be able to tag them based on their action, based on their behaviors through your website or through your campaigns, and then you can tag them on some of the keywords. For example, he's more interested in I'm just randomly babbling, he's more interested in, let's say, food and beverage, or this person is very interested in promos, like for example he only click on the on sale list other than the other ones. So then based on that you can tag them. Once you tag them, it's like you already understand this user, this particular customer, and then next time you would have to you will be able to launch a more personalized campaign based on the tags that you add to this specific user, so you're not repeating yourself. So it's like your brand is actually understanding what you want. So this is leveraging data and analytics results, and then to be able to how to say foster a personalized communication with the end user. It's different by difference, because based on the different tags of my consumers, I'll be able to run different campaigns instead of just one shoot to all. And I'll be able to run a campaign to repetitive buyer, to existing customers. I know that they are existing, they are loyal, or they've already purchased a good amount of orders through my platform, and then I will give them a discount instead, a thank you note, and then here's a coupon, stuff like that. So I think that's the key to actually foster a long-term relationship, is to really understand your consumers. Yeah.
Similar, actually, Dara already touched on this other question from another anonymous attendee on demonstrating empathy and understanding toward customer concerns. Given that this is from him or her, given that some brands are unable to do this. So maybe just so that we wrap this up nicely with a bow from a brand perspective, from Greg or Belle, we can get a snippet on what your thoughts are on this.
Go ahead, Belle. I was typing actually. I was
Yeah,
answering.
I saw you.
Okay,
I think
Belle can
for-
go ahead.
Yeah, from a brand perspective, for us, it still comes with the proper training. It's hard to put in people that has no empathy in the very first place. So we make sure that the people that we're hiring as agents are those that are still aligned with the values, and of course the beliefs that we have, and as a person personally. At the same time, we use conversational marketing in a sense that we're able to escalate issues if the reservations agent cannot handle these issues from an agent perspective. They would escalate it to me, and I would still be a real person answering their question and not just any bot. Because probably those brands, quote unquote, that are not demonstrating empathy are probably using too much of bot, that there's no human intervention anymore. And that's when conversations might be dropping. And that's where a user probably might feel that this brand does not have any empathy just because there's no human intervention.
Yeah. But sometimes like Chat GPT, right? If it gives you an answer and it's too cold, you can
Yeah.
actually say make it warmer.
Yeah, and at the same
And then
time,
the words
ChatGPT also even says that this is not something that I can answer just because it needs some
Yes, it's
human
beyond,
intervention as well.
yeah.
Right, and it's still an evolving technology.
It can be.
Yeah.
I think it's the manner of communicate. Yes, of course, there has to be a human element behind it, but that's not to say that the automated responses can also communicate in a way that reflects empathy and warmth, given the right words and prompts.
Right, and Infobip is a perfect partner to help you with that, and
Yeah, I
also
think I need
help
to talk
brands
to
with
Dara
that.
to make my virtual sommelier dream come true.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's gonna be a wonderful or fruitful discussion after this, hopefully. After this wonderful webinar that we had. So maybe I can call on Cecil again just so that we can all say goodbye to our wonderful panelists. A huge shout out to Dara, Belle, Greg, Cecil for being adventurers our speakers for today for sharing their insights into conversational marketing and building customer relationships, right? We hope you guys gain some valuable takeaways that you can apply in your own strategies. So thank you again also for sharing your questions. If you guys want to reach out, I'm sure they're on LinkedIn. You can
Yeah.
find them, reach out, ask more questions if you want. Sorry, speakers, that I'm encouraging more questions to take up your time. But yes, once again, let's all say collectively bye to our speakers, and we appreciate once again. Enjoy the rest of your day. This is Catherine, and let's keep learning every day. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Signing off.
Take care.
Thanks, bye.